Ikelos, Guardian.
YouTube, how's it going? I am back with another video to help hunters achieve greatness in competitive playlists such as Trials of Osiris. In my last video, I read that a lot of people had not been blessed by the RNG gods with the weapons to recreate the build. Therefore, I am going to provide options that give more flexibility on easier to obtain weapons that benefit from Radiant and retain a high lethality and competitiveness. I'll put information about this build as well as the dim links in the description below. With that being said, let's get into the build. The focus of this build is to be versatile and ready for any short and long range engagements. The catch is crafting around the slept-on Frosties like exotics to have Radiant at your disposal as much as possible. Running Frosties allows you to have an ace up your sleeve should you or your teammates need it during any duels. Let's talk about the stats behind Frosties. Class ability usage grants a 6.25% increase in sprint speed for 10 seconds. While sprinting, Frosties gives you a 200% additional base class ability regeneration rate, as well as a 100% additional base grenade and melee regeneration rate. Here's a list of the mods I have equipped for this build. I won't go over all of them since I think that would be boring, but the ones I wanted to make note of are Bolstering Detonation and Focusing Strike. Each ability gives 6% class ability energy back whenever they are activated from either grenade damage or powered melee attack, respectively. Additionally, I would run Time Dilation and one instance of a Weapon Surge mod. Time Dilation extends your window of utilizing mods that rely on orbs of power from 10 seconds to 15 seconds. This allows you to have your Surge mod for a bit longer, which can be the difference between winning or losing a duel. I won't go too in depth on everything here as well, since this setup is almost the same as my Knucklehead RAᕲI-AN̍ video, with a few changes. The changes are initializing Radiant or extending the benefits of Radiant. Starting with initializing Radiant, we get into the state by running Acrobat's Dodge. When we use our class ability, this will give us a 10% increase to damage output buff for 10 seconds. Equipping the Ember of Solace Fragment allows my Radiant to be extended from 10 seconds to 15 seconds. Next, I equip the Ember of Torches Fragment, since this allows my Proximity Knife to initialize Radiant to me and my nearby teammates whenever an enemy takes damage from it. Last, I equip the Ember of Benevolence Fragment, since this allows my abilities to regen faster when I lend a supporting hand to my teammates, like giving them Restoration, Cure, or Radiant. This buff applies for 3 seconds and gives me 400% additional base energy regen. You can also run something else besides Swarm Grenades if you want to take advantage of this fragment, and that is using the Healing Grenade. One small tip. Acrobat's Dodge is more than just a tool to get more damage. It can also serve as a way to gain info on where your opponents are and prep your next move. Just be careful when using this out in the open, since once you initiate the animation, it needs to finish before you can move again. Coming in first, we have Drang. Drang has always been a decent and reliable option to kill your opponents quickly. By default, the TTK sits at a comfortable 0.6 seconds. That means Drang on paper out TTKs the Immortal by 0.15 seconds at base and 0.07 seconds with the Immortal's target lock. Adding Radiant to Drang keeps the same TTK, but makes it more forgiving as you need one less headshot to keep the optimal 0.60 TTK. There are already many reviews out on this weapon, so to save some time, I will recommend a couple perks that I think make this weapon excel. The first perk I think you should try with Drang is Quick Draw. Quick Draw allows you to swap between your weapons extremely fast, and helps aid in your last second decision making. The second perk you should try to extend your dueling potential is Swashbuckler. When you get a kill with a melee or this gun, you increase your outgoing damage, which shortens your TTK. Sporting a 0.73 TTK, Trespasser has insane opportunities. It has some of the cleanest sights on the sidearm and forgives bad aim than most other sidearms in my opinion. Where the Trespasser shines is when you mix Radiant into the equation. While Radiant and with optimal aim, you can eliminate an opponent in 0.5 seconds. This is only the beginning, however. If you can get Unrepentant to trigger while Radiant, you can eliminate an opponent in 0.33 seconds. Coming with a .73 TTK, the Out of Bounds SMG is a slept-on choice in the current sandbox. It being a part of the 900 RPM archetype family means this weapon can gun down guardians faster than aggressive SMGs before perks are accounted for. Additionally, since this is a lightweight frame, you move faster with this weapon equipped and have a higher handling experience, which can be beneficial for swapping back and forth between your weapons. Being Radiant puts Out of Bounds optimal TTK at 0.67 seconds, which holds up against the aggressive SMGs and beats adaptive SMGs before perks are applied. Anytime I can get dynamic sway reduction, I almost always go for that perk. You'll be more accurate and leave less up to RNG since your weapon's shot cone will be considerably smaller. It's my go-to perk of choice on this weapon, and if you haven't given it a try yet, I highly recommend it. You can go with perks that lower your TTK, but I would recommend perks that provide you with continuous benefits, such as Rangefinder, even after the changes. Last, the Omolon Fluid Dynamics perk is one of the best origin perks in this game. It gives 20 stability and 30 reload speed for the top half of the magazine, while decreasing linearly as it reaches the halfway mark. This weapon feels snappy and responsive, and it's an absolute joy to use within the effective range. The Unending Tempest is without a doubt a meta shakeup. This weapon came with some clean sights and has a base 0.8 second TTK. I'm not going to fool anyone here. Target lock is insane with this weapon, and even more so when Radiant is active. With target lock or Radiant active, this weapon's TTK sits at 0.7 seconds. When both are active, this weapon has the same TTK, but with a more forgivable headshot body shot spread. The origin trait just sets this weapon apart as well, acting like dynamic sway reduction with added range. This means you can substitute dynamic sway reduction due to the origin perk if you want to explore other options. If sidearms or fast-firing SMGs aren't your thing, you should consider one of the most oppressive guns in PvP, and that's the Ikelos or Ikelos 1.0.3. It's purchasable from Xur and the Gunsmith from time to time. The Ikelos 1.0.3 is part of the aggressive frame architecture of SMGs. It boasts a base TTK of 0.75 seconds. Mixing in Radiant, you become one of the most dangerous guardians in the lobby, as your TTK is lowered to a crazy 0.67 seconds for activating one ability. Just like Out of Bounds, I use dynamic sway reduction here. You'll be more accurate and leave less up to RNG since your weapon's shotgun will be considerably smaller. It's my go-to perk of choice on this weapon, and if you haven't given it a try yet, I highly recommend you buy or craft this weapon with this perk. Even though Rangefinder received a rework, I still run it as it feels like it adds value to the recoil, aim assistance fall off, and a small bump to handling if you enhance the perk. The best part of this weapon is the potential and dueling opportunity. There are very few weapons out there that can continue the duels should the need arise. The origin trait of this weapon refills the magazine by 50% on Guardian shield breaks, which allows you to keep shooting without reloading. Honestly speaking, you can go with any sniper you are comfortable with to fill your other weapon slot. There are so many good options in the game right now that it comes down to how comfortable you are with a certain frame or fill after hundreds or even thousands of kills. If you are just beginning to snipe or thinking about trying a different filling sniper, I cannot recommend Defiance of Yasmin enough. Obtainable through the King's Fall raid, this sniper has one of the best looking optics in the game. You're able to see more around your peripheral vision compared to other snipers. Additionally, this weapon is craftable, which allows you to curate the role you want. I have an uncrafted role, and I still am shocked by the performance the base opening shot and snapshot perks provide, as it allows me to hit some insane and questionable shots. I would recommend these perks as well as maximizing your range or handling as you see fit. This pairs nicely with our close range weapons that benefit from our Radiant build, so should you ever need to challenge anyone from afar, Yasmin has you covered should you be able to land your shots. The Frosties exotics are one of the coolest exotics. They set up your match for success by allowing you to use your abilities more often. They also, with the right build, provide you with the opportunity of being Radiant more often. This allows you to duel with a 10% damage buff more often, putting you in an advantageous position in your engagements. Furthermore, you can extend the benefit to your teammates, which helps win fights and gets you closer to closing out a match. This build can be played both greedy or as a support, which makes it flexible and deadly. If you made it this far, I want to say thank you for watching and for your support. If you think I missed a weapon that was worth mentioning, or part of the build that could have provided more benefits, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. I'm going to end this video with one last example of a close game. This has been a video by Spheres, and happy holidays.